Hello, and welcome back to me building the Buffyverse. It's taken slightly longer for me to get this out than I thought it would, but I still think it's faster than the last video that I put out. But this one, it was really fun to build because it's mainly not the building itself. So this is Restfield Cemetery, the first of I think 3 cemeteries that I'm planning to do, just to capture the fact that there is an unreasonable amount of cemeteries in Sunnydale. So I'm doing Restfield first, and this is also the cemetery that Spike's crypt is in. So the main thing that I was doing was building the crypt and putting the sort of extension of the tunnel system underneath it, slash his little basement thing. I don't know if you call it a basement, it's more a hole in the ground. So working on the hole in the ground that he primarily lives in, and also the cemetery itself. I think the image that I have to just show that this is Restfield Cemetery is not the area of Restfield that I was specifically doing. I also knew that I wouldn't be able to replicate the cemetery itself in a small lot because, you know, cemeteries tend to be bigger than just a residential lot. This is also the only one that will be residential because it's the only one where a character is known to be living. The others will be generic ones because at this point we do not have cemeteries and graveyards in The Sims as official lot types, but you can still build them using the gravestones. And also I think the Vampires pack adds loads of extra gravestones in it, and I think it even has little raised bits of dug up earth which I used in this. So very glad that that exists, just for the sole purpose of this build, because I used tons of it in this. Oh, who'd have thought when building a vampire's house you need the Vampires pack? Who'd have thought? But yeah, when I got to the end of this one and I was looking at the build, I kept thinking, this doesn't look nice. Like, it looks kind of like dim and gross, but I kept having to remind myself, it's supposed to. It's a crypt and a hole in the ground in a cemetery. It's fine if it doesn't look as nice and cozy as like actual residential houses. I think the houses of the characters that I have built before this, I've tried to make them look, you know, somewhere nice for people to live. But this one, I wasn't doing that, and then I get to the end and I think, it's covered in cobwebs. But I think it worked. I think the hole in the ground worked because it's that sort of weird, unusual shape, and I don't know if it carries on from there. I know that it is connected to the tunnel system somehow, but I can't replicate it being in a tunnel because I can't connect things on lots like that. But I have tried to sort of make it this winding room underneath, and doing my best looking at oh god, what episode was it? Dead Things. Yeah, they have this really nice shot of the camera just going through the basement of the crypt, just moving through it, and you get to see roughly the layout. It's difficult to tell because the camera sort of does a lot of turning around and moving around, but it's nice to get a really long shot just looking through the crypt. It's like they did that shot for me specifically to do this build. This is actually one of the builds that I had done before, so something that I did like in a different save file. But I decided to use the opportunity to do it better this time and focus more on the details and focus on getting right the specific layout, which I didn't focus on before because I was just doing it for myself. But now that I'm not, you know, now that I show this to others, I'm putting more detail into it. I also would, this is how I would probably end up using this when I eventually do actually play the game in this save file, because I don't usually play this save file, I just build in it. But when I actually do start using it, this is probably going to be one that I use as an actual graveyard. You know, if one of your Sims family members or friends dies, you know, just bring the, I've forgotten the word for the little the container that you put ashes in. Yeah, just bring that, and then I think you can do that on other people's residential lots. You can just put down a gravestone, so it can be used as a graveyard. You know, especially because you don't need to go into the crypt itself to do anything like that. So even if, like, the Sim of Spike wasn't home, you could just go onto the lot. Even if you got rid of him, you could just go into the lot. So it would be perfectly doable to just use it as a functioning graveyard. And I like the idea of being able to use functional graveyards in The Sims, because whenever I have Sims that have family members die, they just have the gravestone like next to their house, which I don't think I've ever seen anybody in real life do before. Just have grave of like Gran in their garden. It means that your Sims randomly go up to it and get sad because they're like, I'm going to grieve this family member. But you know, this means that you can just put the gravestone somewhere else and use it as a functioning graveyard. There will be other graveyards, there will be other cemeteries in this save file, just because there's so many in Sunnydale, and I thought, well, I'm not going to do all. I think there's 14. I think at one point they said there was either like 12 or 14 cemeteries in Sunnydale. I'm not doing that many, because then Sunnydale would only be cemeteries in Willow Creek. But yeah, this was really fun to do because I had sort of already done it before, and also I had a lot more freedom with this one than I usually do. The build that I'm doing after this one, or that I am planning to do after this one, because I might be doing one of the like communal lots, but the one that I have planned to do after this one is one that was basically never seen on screen. I'm pretty sure you only saw one room of it, and I have a lot of freedom with that one, and it seems like it's going to be one that I'm going to like, because it's a bigger build. It is a residential one. It's bigger. You've barely seen it. So if you can figure out what I mean from those very non-specific clues, yeah, that's the one that I'm going to be doing next. One problem that I did come across when doing this one is that I wanted to have raised earth, but I also, when you start putting down gravestones and start putting down the raised earth, it floats, so I had to figure out ways to not have it just be random floating bits of ground, which I think generally worked out. There might be a couple of raised earth bits. But anyway, thank you for watching this video. If you want to see more videos like this, so Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Sims 4 related content, then please consider subscribing to the channel. If you'd like to download any of my builds, they're all on the gallery, and my gallery ID is Sav1895. Once again, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a lovely day.